Alright, hello, and welcome to yet another Kefka at Narshe tournament race here. We've got Couch underscore 23. We've got TheSabin. And they are both sitting at 1-1. Couch 23 lost his second round race to Kefka. He won his first round race against Cruel. TheSabin faced El Magus last round and took a loss. And let's see, who did he face in round one? Sabin faced. Wow, there's too many names here. I can't read. I can't read. The pressure. No, he lost to Magus in round one. My apologies. That was the round one matchup. And then in round two, he redeemed himself. Redemption match against B Sharp Major. There it is. So we're off to the races here early on. We want to get missed question marks there, as much experience as we can possibly get her. And in order to do that, we're going to have Wedge and Vix run away when they can from these battles. And in order to do that, we need to kill certain enemies. The Bull Mammoths, the Lobos that you saw earlier, they have a flag on them that doesn't allow you to run away from the battles, but the guards do not. So once everything but the guards are dead, Vix and Wedge can run away from all the battles if they want to. Excuse me. And so that allows Terra to get as much experience as possible. This match right here is match 2 of 4 on the day. The rest of the matches for today are going to be on Scratch Dragon stream. So if you're interested in watching more Final Fantasy VI after this completes, be sure to tune into Scratch Dragon stream. He's been doing a lot for us. Already here, we are up to our first boss, and that boss is Welk. Welk kind of meant of as a tutorial boss of sorts, where if you attack the shell, he counterattacks. It teaches you counterattacks are bad in this game. However, thankfully to the way the AI works in this game, when a monster has a queued action and then you trigger its counterattack, the counterattack will replace the queued action in the script, and the queued action won't actually fire off. And so, if executed properly, we'll be able to prevent Welk from going into the shell at all. Welk entering the shell is actually an action of the shell itself. It's not Welk performing that action. So, if we attack the shell and the shell counters with Mega Bolt, that actually replaces the scripted Welk retreat. So, this Mega Bolt is 100% intentional, as you see both runners fire beaming the shell and getting countered, taking all kinds of damage, and Terra's just gonna tech missile her to her heart's content. And quick kill complete for Couch, quick kill complete for Sabin. We're off to a good start for both of these runners. So looking at their current tournament PBs, let me see here. TheSabin's tournament PB 126.03, his average tournament match time 127.20. Whereas Couch 23 did have a forfeit in his last match, so his only logged tournament time is a 134.55. However, I also know that Couch has been able to complete multiple 124 times, so this should be a very close match between two runners who are very, very good at the game. TheSabin himself runs the Final Fantasy VI speedrunning wiki, so he's put a lot of time into the game. He's got a lot of game knowledge. And Couch actually new to the run as of this tournament, but has put in a lot of time, a lot of practice, and has showed a lot of promise. And I'm looking forward to Couch being a speedrunner of this game after this tournament is done. I think he'll put in a lot of good times and put up a lot of good runs. Do these strategies work with the Steam version of the game? The answer is some of them, and you basically have to test it yourself and see which ones work and which ones don't. But the best thing to do is not play the Steam version because it's awful. Oh yeah, TheSabin is the any percent world record holder at a time of what, 51 minutes, 50 minutes or something like that. So we do have a true WR holder. And for a short amount of time, Couch_23 on the left there had the Kefka at Narshe WR. So it's a battle of two true giants here. So we'll name Terra. We'll bump her name down to T because Terra's too long and it takes too long for everybody to say Terra. So we're gonna make them say T instead because it's easy. So we want Terra to be level 6 before we trigger the Moogle cutscene, and in order to do that, despite having Vix and Wedge run away from all the fights in the beginning, we still want to get one more level on Terra here. And that'll bring Terra to level 6, which allows Locke to join at level 7, and it allows Edgar to join at, I believe, level 8, or maybe even level 9. I think it's level 8. And then that makes it better for all of the experience going forward. If everybody's joining at a higher level, that's less you have to grind for sure. Sabin on the right getting a little bit unlucky with the back attack here. He's gonna have to wait a bit while his ATB charges, and not only that, he's taking counter wrenches to the face. Meanwhile, this is Couch's second preemptive attack, so Couch was already, I believe, I'm not sure if Sabin started his timer early or what, but Couch is going to be enjoying pretty significant lead now that Sabin has encountered a pincer attack, because a little bit worse than a back attack, you have to fire not one but two Vaporites here, and it's extra time. They're gonna hit you. It's just extra shenanigans. So Couch is gonna hit level 6 right here. Learn Ant Dot, so he's already on his way. Sabin's got to grind out at least one more fight. So Couch going to be enjoying an early advantage for sure. Alright, so Terra falls down the hole, hits her head, remembers some stuff. She remembers killing all these people with a Magitech suit. And here's some guy. We don't know who this guy is. Just kind of appears in her memory. Oh, who could this possibly be? Definitely not the main antagonist of the run. So this run is a race to the first true battle with Kefka in the Narshe snowfields. You do fight Kefka in Sabin's scenario through the Imperial Guard camp. Those are like little cutscene fights. You don't really amount to anything. The Kefka boss himself, where he's obviously not the end of the game, but the one true fight you have with Kefka at Narshe is where this run will end. It's basically meant to be an introductory speedrun. A lot of the category, almost every category, obviously has to run through the Kefka at the snowfields. So depending on what category you're running, this is a great introduction to taking on full game categories. And here we have our treasure hunter. It's Locke. But his name's actually L, just so you didn't know. Star of Death Note. And he'll be joining the party. He'll be joining some Moogles, and we'll be saving Terra here. I do believe one person, and that was LCC, did a quote-unquote speedrun of the Steam version the day it came out, and I don't think anybody's touched it since. It's pretty awful. There's a lot of input lag. There's a lot of like laggy menus. The sprite work, a lot of people do not approve. I personally don't, but some people say it's all right. And yeah, so the Steam version is definitely something else. But there are definitely multiple versions of this game. You've got the PlayStation version, which allows you to dash, which obviously means that the categories for the two games are different, and you got load times in the PlayStation version as well. And then the Game Boy Advance version is also a bit of a remake. There's all kinds of extra dungeons and whatnot in that one as well. So anyway, we've got our boy Mog here. Locke is pretty useless in this battle. We want the level 12 hero, Mog. He comes equipped with a mithril pike, a mithril shield, does a ton of damage, and dances his heart out. And thankfully, normally if you were to go into the menu for any of the Moogles here, it would not let you unequip anything they have. But if you go into the menu specifically with Mog, because Mog is a character you can recruit later, spoilers. If you go into his weapon and shield in the item menu, you can actually unequip them, and that gives us access to the mithril pike much earlier than we would normally have access to it. And so we're able to take that weapon off of Mog and give it to Edgar once we get him in the party, and that's a nice early weapon upgrade for him. You'll notice both runners just kind of waltzing past the guards there. So whenever you walk past a guard, if they happen to be in their walking animation at the same time you pass them, you don't actually trigger the fight. You just kind of waltz right on by, and that's going to be true in the Kefka and Narshe battles as well. Looking good for Couch. He's able to get through the Marshal without too much trouble. TheSabin looking like he's going to be just fine as well. Did elect to take an extra attack with Mog with the pike on, no big deal. And he's going to be getting through just fine too. So both runners going to be exiting Narshe. Looking like Couch is going to be right at about 13 minutes. That's a phenomenal time. And Sabin maybe 20 to 30 seconds behind, thanks to all the back attacks and the pincer attacks he had while he was grinding with Terra. So on the world map, you'll notice Couch specifically walking around that forest. Not only is that going to give him a single leafer opposed to two leafers and a dark wind, that's also going to change the amount of threat that's hidden that is generated. And so he'll get less encounters because he's walking in the grass as opposed to the forest. So if you were ever curious, hey, if I walk in the desert, if I walk in the forest versus walking in the grass, is that actually beneficial for me? And the answer is yes. The threat value as you walk along is a little bit reduced. There are tiles on like the shinier green meadows that do not increase the threat counter at all. And so if you're ever walking around in this game casually, you want to walk in the grass as much as possible. Avoid the forests, unless you're going for a chocobo, of course. And alright, Couch is meeting up with the king, Edgar, who will summarily be named E unless Couch is going to meme for us, and he'll come up with some clever naming scheme. Let's see though. Nope, all serious business today. Couch knows he's up against TheSabin, a true world record holder, so all business today. This is definitely a do or die race for the tournament. Going to 2-2 is pretty much a guaranteed death nail to not make the top 16. So the loser of this race pretty much guaranteed to not make it unless by some miracle, I'm sure if it's mathematically possible that less than 16 people are 4-0 and 3-1, but maybe. And so we've got E on both sides here. Figaro is a bit of a cutscene heavy place. You have to run around with Terra, and by run I mean walk because we don't have the sprint shoes yet. We gotta go talk to the matron in the west building to learn about TheSabin, and then run all the way back to the throne room, meet Kefka, and then run all the way out to the east building to take a nap, and then all kinds of stuff happens in Figaro, but unfortunately it is definitely cutscene heavy, so it's gonna be a little bit before we get back into the action here. So Couch has learned about TheSabin, TheSabin learning about himself, and we are moseying right along here. So here we've got our main antagonist, Kefka. You gotta talk to both of the guards, and you have to talk to Kefka before the plot will actually proceed here. So if you talk to the both guards frame perfectly, they'll stare at each other. If you only get one, then one of them stares longingly, while the other one scorns their glance a little bit. TheSabin able to get the staring contest. So one frame saved over Couch. TheSabin making up time. So we'll be coming up to a fight here with two Magitech armor. Nothing really special to this fight. Obviously, if you were to cast magic with Terra in this fight, it would trigger a 40-second cutscene where Edgar and Locke kind of freak out that she's able to cast magic. And fortunately for us, we don't need magic. We have auto crossbow. Auto crossbow is a ridiculously overpowered weapon that does a pretty significant amount of damage and has a very short animation time, so it's pretty great for a speedrun, and we'll be spamming that basically for the rest of the game until we get the Genji glove. So we've got a nice 25 to 30 minutes full of auto crossbow shenanigans. And we've got our underground burrowing castle that's on fire. No big deal. Everyday sight. I'm gonna see if I can't clean up Couch's cropping here when he gets into this fight. There we go. So 2 quick auto crossbows. What are giant metal machines to a man with an auto crossbow? Absolutely nothing, apparently. And so Couch is through the Magitech armor fights with he's no worse for the wear by any means. Basically the worst thing that can happen in these fights is they can double tech laser Terra, and she'll take too much damage and die, but even that's not really a big deal, because as soon as you go into the cave to South Figaro, you hit a recovery spring, and I'm pretty sure that revives everybody. And if both these runners are on step route, which means assuming neither of them make mistakes, you'll see all of them get the same encounters. And it's routed out to where the first encounter in the cave is after the recovery spring, so definitely not a big deal if that happens, but it didn't happen for either of them, so here we are. What are the real walls in terms of spots of time lost in this run? That is a great question. So there are a couple of quick kills you can do. So I would say the first quote-unquote wall, if you mess up the quick kill on Welk, that's about a 45-second difference. The Ultros fight itself, if you don't know how to properly do that fight, you can either die or really waste a lot of time. An improper fight versus a proper fight there is probably about 45 seconds as well. Other than that, another major point of contention is finding Gao in the Veld. Gao has a 5 in 8 chance of appearing. The step route allows for 2 encounters to potentially get Gao very easily before deviating off of step routes. So that's a 55 and 64, or 55 out of 64% chance. So that's about what, 80, 81, 82%. So most runs will get Gao, but it's possible that he doesn't appear and things go awry. Other than that, you're looking at a lot of minor encounter optimizations. You'll notice TheSabin early on had a back attack and a pincer attack. Back attacks aren't the end of the world, but pincer attacks in this game can be particularly nasty because you have to clear out one side of the encounter before you're able to run away, and that's just a huge time loss. And the runners really don't have any control over that. They just have to kind of deal with it as it comes. The Serpent Trench can be nasty if there's pincer attacks in there. And I guess that's really the major points. Obviously there's some minor things you can do here and there that will waste you time as well, but ultimately those are the big ones. So we're in the town of South Figaro. We're gonna buy the sprint shoes because walking slow is overrated. This is a speed run, we gotta go fast. And so we've got 3 sets of sprint shoes, one for Sabin later on. We've got one on Terra for her scenario, and then Sabin's is actually going to get removed. We're gonna use Cyan, and then the last one will go to Locke there. So when we've got a nice little traffic jam for the Sabin over there. A little unfortunate, and the NPC move definitely trolling a bit there. Looking like Sabin actually electing to pick up a star pendant. He sells his sleeping bag, picks up an extra star pendant, gonna prevent somebody from getting poisoned. Maybe, he didn't even equip it. So that's a little bit of safety. There's a lot of grinding on Mount Colts, and one of the enemies you grind on are Trilliums. They have an ability called Bane Touch, And if they hit you with Bane Touch, you are immediately poisoned, and then you have to go into the menu and cast Antidote with Terra, and that's just a time waste to have to go into the menu and heal. So by buying a Star Pendant, you can prevent one person from being poisoned. But you have to basically guess and get lucky as to who that person is. Here we pick up the Atlas Armlet. It's kind of tucked away a little bit. It's definitely out of the way. The Atlas Armlet will actually boost the damage of auto crossbow pretty significant amount. I do believe it's 25%. So if auto crossbow wasn't overpowered enough before, auto crossbow with a damage boost really plows through just about everything on this mountain except for Tuskers. So it's a definite nice welcome damage increase here. So you're going to see the runners run away from brawlers. Brawlers don't give a whole lot of experience, excuse me. And can be generally annoying to fight. You can't really kill them in one auto crossbow until you have the Atlas Armlet. But we're going to take the rest of the encounters here. And unfortunately for Couch there, Terra ended up running away. He only wanted Locke to run away. Both Edgar and Terra need as much experience as they can get, whereas Locke will reach level 9 without... He can skip a 4-pack and not have to worry about it. So now, normally at the end of the route, Couch, you'll be able to skip 2 packs of Trilliums, but now Couch is going to have to take both of them. And it's a bit of an unfortunate runaway there. Actually, if you have that happen and you see these brawler encounters, that was the last one Couch is going to get. Probably not a bad idea to take the brawler fight there. And TheSabin took an extra step there, one step too far down, so that might affect the step route right outside of the Returner's hideout later on. Ooh, Couch missing the bridge, so that's about 6 extra steps there as well. So both runners, little walking snafus as TheSabin is about 2 encounters behind Couch here, and Couch is going to have to grind a little bit extra, so I'm looking to see this is probably going to even up pretty nicely here. Couch getting that nice side attack. Both side attacks and preemptive attacks allow all the characters in the party to act first. They start the battle with their ATBs full, and that's makes for a nice quick fight. You don't have to sit there waiting for the ATB gauge to charge on anybody. So, and once again, Couch clutching out the side attacks here. So I do believe this is the last 4-pack for TheSabin, so he's going to want to have Locke run away from this one, otherwise he'll have to do some extra grinding. So it'll be interesting to see if Locke's able to run for him. No, he does not even elect to have him run away, so TheSabin's going to have to take a couple extra encounters himself as well. I think both runners... I'm not sure if Couch is going to have to go out of his way to get these extra encounters. I do believe this is the first of the extras right here with the Trilliums. He needs Terra to gain a level, and he did not get it there. Notice Terra on the right side is poisoned, so TheSabin's going to have to go into the menu and deal with that. Couch getting a Trillium back attack, which... normally means you have to menu afterwards, but fortunately the Trilliums were very nice to him and didn't have to do anything. And look at that, Terra's still level 7. He should have one more. Nope, that was his last encounter because of his step mistakes, and so Couch is going to have to farm an additional encounter here. He's going to be wasting a lot of time having to do that. And oh, TheSabin getting poisoned yet again. So it's going to be a bit of a time loss to cure that poison as well. And there's the final levels needed for TheSabin. So his grinding is done, but he's got to go into the menu here. And, oh, he's not even going to cast Antidote. He's just going to equip and unequip the Star Pendant, and that's going to remove the poison. I didn't actually know that was a thing, so I learned something today. Couch finishes up his grinding. He enters the Vargas fight at about 30-11, and TheSabin right behind him at 30-16. So we have about a 5-second difference, all said and done, after Mount Colt is over here. So the Vargas fight is pretty much simple. It's easy to complete. It's hard to do fast. The major thing you want to do in this fight is avoid Doomfist after Sabin appears, and in order to do that, you have to kind of react to how the beginning of the fight plays out. You essentially want to manipulate Vargas' ATB so that it's as low as possible once the cutscene triggers. And in order to do that, you kind of have to react to not only what the bears do, but when Vargas gets his turn, how much damage you're doing, and it's really complex. So usually most people will just kind of just do their damage and be done with the fight. Skipping Doomfist is probably about 3 to 5 seconds tops, so it's not the end of the world. Does Couch go for Riot Blade? No. Couch, why? I believed. And Vargas is down for Couch. You notice he did weight trick that fire, so we'll see if he is able to skip Doomfist here. And Vargas going down for Sabin as well, so that 5-second difference remaining steady throughout this this boss fight here. So neither runner getting the Doomfist skip there, but we got a pummel on Couch's side. We've got TheSabin casting pummel as well. Couch out of the fight at 32:06. TheSabin coming out of the fight at 32:13. So a 7-second difference coming out of the Vargas fight. A very, very close race so far. So Sabin will join the party. Sabin's probably the most important character in the Kefka and Narshe speedrun, mostly because his scenario is about 3 times the length of both Locks and, well, especially Locks in the Kefka and Narshe run and Terra scenario. It's probably actually more like 5 times thinking about it. And so we need, all of that grinding was to make sure we would have Sabin join the party at a significantly high level. Sabin's got some nice firepower with his blitzes. Aura Bolt especially does a pretty significant amount of damage, and we're going to be using that a ton. And you'll notice because Couch had to farm those extra encounters, he actually got an encounter coming off the mountain, whereas Sabin did not. So you're going to see Couch is going to get, this might be his last one right here, even though it's a back attack. And then I think I did see Sabin make one misstep. I'm not sure that's going to get him another encounter or not. We'll see. If it is, it's going to be right before. Nope, he made it in. So Sabin is the first one to enter the Returner's hideout here. And no Returner soft lock for Sabin today. And Couch is right on his tail. So the Returner's hideout, basically another cutscene heavy place, but it also has a significant amount of loot that is very helpful for a speedrun. We're going to be picking up the True Knight, which allows somebody to cover somebody else that's in critical hit points. We're going to pick up a number of Phoenix Downs. I think there's 2 here that we need. Yeah, 2 Phoenix Downs here. An Air Lancet that will throw at people, because who doesn't like throwing knives at people? And we've got an antidote as well in the event that somebody gets poisoned later on. So a lot of safeties in this cave here. Sabin actually electing to skip the antidote, obviously because he picked up the star pendant, so he has a way to cure poison. He doesn't need no stinking antidote. And also what you have to do in the Returner's Hideout is talk to your 3 party members, Locke, Sabin, Edgar, and then you have to go talk to Bannon. And interestingly enough, if you say no to Bannon 3 times, it's actually faster than saying yes to Bannon. And not only is it faster, but you also get a better relic for saying no than you do for saying yes. Who knew? I definitely did not know that as a kid. One thing you might notice Couch doing here is he said no to Bannon, and he's going to run up here and talk to this guard. Talking to the guard here, as opposed to having him give you the item in the cutscene. It's something that was, I guess, recently discovered. Saves a minuscule amount of time if everything goes proper. But ultimately, it doesn't make a bit of difference. I'm not sure how many desperation attacks we've seen so far. I know the opener had a Royal Shock, and I think we had a Mirager, and I don't actually recall seeing Riot Blade in a race, but that does not mean it didn't happen for sure. I have not caught every race myself, much as I might like to. Two Riot Blades. I clearly missed out then. Alright, so here we're going to see TheSabin and Couch both run up to the save point here. They're going to take a save after doing some menuing. They're going to throw the Genji Glove on Edgar, and they're going to throw some Sprint Shoes on Sabin. And they're going to save and reset. And what this is going to do is manipulate the encounters on the Elite River. By saving and resetting, and then they're actually going to reset a second time. This is going to set a specific NPC movement value where they can manipulate what encounters they get on the river. The river actually has anywhere from 2 to 9 encounters, and so it can be a particularly nasty place, but thankfully we're able to manipulate that so we can guarantee we get the minimum 2 and don't have to worry about anything extra. We can just go on our merry way. And if you ever played this game casually, it's definitely one of the most annoying places, because Bannon joins the party. He doesn't have a lot of health, and if he gets whacked, then the game's just over. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but certainly a point of frustration for many childhoods. Couch gets a preemptive here versus Sabin's Bannon taking a long time to run, and that's going to even things up right quick. So you'll notice the TheSabin here is actually going to auto crossbow this encounter and take this encounter to get Edgar to level 12. Pterodons themselves give a lot of experience, and you also notice Couch is skipping this encounter. So Couch is going to gamble on Edgar being level 11 for the Ultros and the Kefka fight, whereas TheSabin's going to get Edgar to level 12. That's going to give Edgar a little bit more damage, but obviously it costs time to do the Pterodon grind. So Couch is going to be entering the lead here due to that decision, but that may come back to bite him further on. We've got a really close race here. So fortunately, the Ultros fight itself, if everything goes right, because the fight starts with dialogue, you are guaranteed to have the same starting ATB every single time, and all of Ultros actions are scripted. So if you mess up the Ultros fight, quite frankly, it's in your execution, and you need to practice it a little bit more. But things can go awry. You can make mistakes for sure. If you drop a blitz, or any number of things can happen. So if you do this fight proper, you will never see Ultros get more than his introductory attack and the counter to fire. So let's see how it plays out. So much like Welk, you'll see Couch queuing up fire here, as well as Sabin, and Ultros counters fire with Ink on Terra, and the way that was timed is so Ultros had his first action queued, but because he counterattacked, that replaced his first action, and so now he's hasn't hit any of his AI script yet. Looking like SabIn, unfortunately, did not get the timing quite right, and Terra's gonna go down for him. That's because Ultros' first targeted action targets Terra with a tentacle, and that does a lot of damage. If she gets hit by Ultros' first attack, she's pretty much guaranteed not to survive. And looking like SabIn gonna get Ultros' second turn as well, so he's gonna be losing a little time over Couch, who did execute the fight the way that was intended. So there goes Ultros for the SabIn, so a bit of a time loss, probably not what the SabIn wanted to see, but both runners surviving, making it on through without too much trouble. So the first scenario of the three that we choose is SabIn's scenario. It's the longest scenario, but the most important thing about this is at the end of this scenario you enter the town of Nikea, and Nikea has smoke bombs. And smoke bombs allow you to immediately run away from every encounter at the cost of seeing the smoke animation. Whereas if we wanted to run away otherwise, we would either have to wait for the ATB to fill and have to worry about that. And Couch naming Shadow Fred, apparently, and that's actually going to even this up a little bit. Alright, so Couch hit the trees at 42:09. Let's see how much time SabIn lost. SabIn didn't take the right step route, so I can't compare. That's funny. And he's actually going to grind out an extra encounter here. So looking like about 20 to 25 seconds between the two runners here. And here we are, we're entering the Imperial Guard camp. Yet another place where there's a pretty large amount of cutscenes, so can be a little bit of downtime, but there are fights in between these cutscenes, so it's maybe not quite as boring as Figaro is, but some definite downtime. So here we're going to be introduced to everybody's favorite mustache man, Old Man Cyan, and Cyan is definitely a polarizing figure throughout the FF6 speedrun. He's very slow, but he does a pretty significant amount of damage and comes equipped with a number of glitches that allow us to get through some boss fights relatively quickly. And so you can either love him or hate him. Got a cool theme. So here for this this commander fight right here, you're going to see Couch equip the sprint shoes on Cyan, and then he's also going to change the battle speed to 1. And the reason we're doing this is we're going to use retort to kill the commander. And obviously, as we're countering an action, we want the guard to act as fast as possible. Sorry, leader, not commander. And so by increasing the battle speed in this game, battle speed only affects enemies, so it's essentially a difficulty slider. So if battle speed's on 6, the enemies go slower. If battle speed's on 1, the enemies go as fast as they possibly can. And so the faster we retort, the better. And down goes the leader. Cyan's the hero. And we've got some more cutscenes to watch. Do I love him or hate him myself? I'm pretty indifferent towards Cyan. As a kid, I would always have him in my party, so I guess I'm on the love side. But ultimately, yeah, I like Cyan. Cyan does get probably more character development than most people in this game, so I kind of throw his backstory at you hard and heavy, and then he's just kind of along for the ride for the rest of it. Though he does have the whole love letter thing later on. So here we're gonna fight Kefka a couple times, and you'll notice that Couch has not changed the battle speed back to 6 yet, and that's because in these fights Kefka is actually a member of the party, and so his ATB feels like the party member's ATB feels, and it isn't affected by battle speed. So battle speed 1, battle speed 6 doesn't matter for these particular 2 fights here. So after the 2 Kefka fights are done, we're gonna take Shadow's armor off because we like SabIn more than Shadow. And so that ninja gear that Shadow has looks mighty fine on SabIn there. So we'll set the battle speed back to 6, and we will take out these Templars and soldiers. And ideally you get an Interceptor counter there, but Interceptor did block for Couch, but he didn't actually counter, so a little bit unfortunate there. So he'll have to throw the Air Lance it, no harm, no foul. And he'll be making his way through the fight here. Templars and soldiers down for Couch at 47.55. And 48.08 for the SabIn. So 13 seconds between Couch and SabIn right now. Couch enjoying a 13-second lead. Very close race. So we've got Kefka poisoning all the people at Doma, everybody in Doma except for Cyan and his guard buddy. Kicked the bucket, including Cyan's family, so he's gonna get hella mad. we've got 3 force encounters here. Interestingly enough, Cyan's going to act on his own. He can either do a normal physical attack, which is generally what you want him to do, or he'll do dispatch, and he will also counterattack at times, as you see right there. So a pretty ideal first fight for Couch. Having Cyan counterattack once and then having all physical attacks is definitely the fastest outcome that can happen here. And the same goes for this fight. Ideally what you want is just 3 physical attacks and these guys are dead. And there's a dispatch for Couch, so dispatch is cool and all, but it's a long animation time compared to just a normal attack, so it wastes a tiny amount of time. Here, the cadet fight, you actually want to wait with SabIn and kind of react to what Cyan's going to do here. And unfortunately, for Couch, Shadow's updated target did not switch to the cadet, and so Shadow actually ended up not killing the cadet, and so SabIn's Aura Bolt went to the wrong target, and that's going to waste him a pretty decent amount of time here. And we are evened up here because of that. Probably about 2 or 3 seconds apart now. Once again, this is the Kefka at Narshe 2 Wherefore Art Thou tournament. It's our second Kefka at Narshe tournament that we've done. We've got 70 participants participating in 4 Swiss round brackets. The top 16 of Swiss will make it to an elimination bracket where the winner will just win. That's pretty much all I got. Like we don't have any like prestige or prize or anything. Just know that you can join Lean 1 as the Kefka at Narshe hero. So these Magitek fights are really simple. You just fire beam everything and everything dies. Really not too much complexity to these. Unfortunately, these dudes can give you a pincer attack, which since you're killing them all anyway, it's really not too big of a deal. It's a little unfortunate in that your ATB starts a little bit lower than it normally would. But otherwise, not as devastating a pincer attack as it could be. It is going to waste you a little bit of time. Couch exits the Imperial Guard camp at about 53:58, and the Sabin's going to exit at 54:04, so a 6-second difference. Couch enjoying a very, very minor lead here. And so all the encounters in the forest are mapped out so that we see a bunch of single ghosts, and then the final encounter we see in the forest will actually be 3 ghosts. And other than that, the Phantom Forest is pretty straightforward. Couch getting a ghost pincer, that's actually really unfortunate because he's going to have to potion off one of the ghosts on the side and then have the other guys run away here. So that's going to waste him actually a pretty significant amount of time, and actually the Sabin's going to take the lead off of this. Probably one of the more devastating pincers you can get. Not only because the ghosts do a pretty significant amount of damage, but the potion animation takes a little bit of time. So the Sabin's gonna jump and do maybe about a 4 to 5 second lead here. So that was about a 15 to 20 second encounter time loss there that, you know, Couch really just didn't have any control over. So there's a lot of wouldn't say there's a lot of RNG, but there's definitely things that can happen in this game that you just don't have control over, and you kind of got to roll with the punches. So we definitely have a very close race here. In terms of the step route, the Phantom Train actually has a number of pretty devastating encounters. So what we're going to see both SabIn and Couch doing here is at the end of this train that SabIn's in right now, he's actually going to run up and down to force a still going encounter. And that's because had he gone outside, he would have had to have fought 4 Whispers instead. And 4 Whispers are a pain in the butt, they cast Demi, they do all this nasty stuff. And still goings are nice and easy to get away from. And Couch getting a side attack there, so he's gonna make up a little bit of time. So we've got a very close race on our hands. And yeah, we are just about even now. We're gonna get some nice, sweet, synced train jumps here. It's gonna be awesome. It even looks like the train's connected between the two. That's funny. Alright, that was cool. Yep, less than a second between our 2 runners here, so let's see how the rest of the train goes. As far as encounters go, shouldn't be anything too particularly devastating. There's an Overmind encounter right here that could potentially be a pincer attack. Looking like SabIn actually going to get a side attack, so he's going to get out of this first. And then the rest of the encounters seed is set up to where you'll fight single bombs outside, and those are a little bit on the easier side to get away from. Especially if they're preemptives like that. So, man, ghost trolling both of our runners here. Unfortunately, after forcing that encounter, you really need to be careful with your steps. Because if you take too many extra steps, you'll actually force an encounter right before the Baron falls. And that's an encounter you don't want, because that's going to throw off the encounters later in the belt as well. So this latter half of the Phantom Train here is very important. And actually, Couch just tried to go up and walk into the train and ended up taking 2 steps backwards. So he's going to get that encounter now, and that's going to be a bit of a time loss come Baron falls. So that's a bit unfortunate. And I do believe SabIn has... Oh, he's going to take a safety save. He's not going to take a safety save. I don't know if he thought that was the switch car or what, but I do believe that also puts him off step route enough to get that encounter, so we should be about even there. Will we see a suplex? Ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea. For the fans, SabIn the hero, picking it up and dropping that train. And not to be outdone, Couch returning the favor. 2 suplexes within the span of 15 seconds. Fans everywhere applaud. Alright, so the train's not having any of that suplex stuff. He's gonna stop and say, whoa, 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 you guys are too strong. Get off my train cars. And so what actually happens in that fight is the Phantom Train is actually undead, and so if you use a Phoenix down on the Phantom Train, it just dies. And I'm not sure if it was Final Fantasy V or Final Fantasy VI where using a Phoenix down on an undead target instantly kills them. I know it's not a thing in 4. And so it's definitely one of the quicker strategies, and that's something that has been maintained throughout the later Final Fantasies as well. If you use a Phoenix down or an elixir on an undead enemy, it does either a ridiculous amount of damage or kills them outright. So if you're playing a modern Final Fantasy game and you're up against some kind of zombie guy, just throw a Phoenix down at him. It'll work out for you, I hope. So here we have a bit more cutscene. Cyan sees his son and his wife jumping on the Phantom Train for a joyride, and he's like, I want to go with you, no. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, we found somebody else. Just kidding. And so Cyan's very sad that his wife and son are departing, so we've got a nice fair amount of menu time here. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to throw the earrings that we picked up in the train on Sabin. That's going to boost the Aura Bolt damage, and we're also going to throw the True Knight on Sabin. That's going to allow him to protect Cyan in one of the fights coming up here. And we also got a lot of time to do some menu shenanigans. You notice Sabin changed his window color, was able to move some items around, get the relics on, and he still got time to walk around afterwards, so there's nothing you can do but wait. I was actually wrong. Sabin walking into the save car and not actually going in did not cost him that Grasshopper encounter that you're going to see Couch get into here. So Couch is going to lose a little bit more time than he already has because he's going to get one encounter right here. And these guys are going to show up again later as well. So here we have what would normally be the Riza Pass fight, where you fight a whole bunch of piranhas, and after I think about a minute and 20 seconds pass, the boss of the piranhas, Rizopas, appears, and then you have to kill him. And Rizopas is actually fairly dangerous. He has an ability called El Nino that does a pretty significant amount of damage, and can ultimately be a pain in the butt. But thankfully, I don't remember who exactly found this. I believe it was either Kilaye of the French FF6 tasking community, or it was somebody in Japan. I'm not entirely sure which one found this, but it's been a well-known glitch that if you revive Cyan in a battle and then have him cast Retort, he starts retorting any physical attack that he can. But one thing that wasn't known, oh, that was Dispatch. Sabin made a major mistake right there. He didn't wait long enough for Retort, and he's gonna have to fight more piranhas. And it's not the end of the world, but it is going to cost him a pretty significant amount of time. So the idea is you bring Cyan back to life, you cast Retort on him, and then you suplex one of the piranhas. And the action of suplexing the piranha is physical. The suplex is going to miss, and then Cyan's going to retort the suplex action, which is a magical attack. And because it's a magical attack and a physical attack, the game doesn't know what to do with the Rizopas, doesn't know how to spawn Rizopas, essentially, and so the game just said, like, okay, well, fight's over, I don't care. And so, actually, Sabin not even electing to do the backup after accidentally doing Dispatch. He's actually going to kill Rizopas clean, and that's going to allow Couch to enjoy probably about a 30-second lead, so that's a really unfortunate mistake from Sabin there, being a little bit too impatient on the retort, and so Couch is going to enjoy a very small lead. This is about lead change number, like, what, 9, 10? Alrighty, so now we're on the Velt. We're going to immediately push in Cyan because he's like 99% dead, except on Sabin's side. Cyan's got plenty of health. And we're going to run into a number of encounters. So we want to run away from all of the encounters before we get to Mobliz, because obviously we don't have the dried meat yet, and you can only get the dried meat by buying it in Mobliz. Nothing drops it earlier on, but we are going to see a pincer attack. That's actually part of the step route. The seed that we use on the river, the way the Velt works, the Lobo and Guard formation, that's a pincer attack from the beginning of the game, is just part of the encounter string that you get, so there's really no avoiding it using this particular seed. So, intended pincer attack, you're going to see it on both of their screens. And Couch is going to enter Mobliz, he's going to buy dried meat, and he's going to have 2 chances at Gao appearing. Both encounters will be a 5 out of 8 chance. And hopefully he picks him up. Couch is actually going to run into the 3 Grasshoppers here again, I believe. And I'm not sure. I think Sabin should run into the single ghost and the single bomb. Whereas you're going to see Couch run into 3 Grasshoppers and then 3 ghosts. So it's going to be a little unfortunate for him. So Couch has to be careful here, because Cyan is berserked. If Gao were to appear, Cyan would just poke him in the face. So he's actually waiting for Cyan to get his second turn, because there's Gao, and so had he killed the Grasshopper and Cyan got his turn, Cyan would have stabbed him in the face. But thankfully, Couch was patient, was able to use the dried meat, and he'll be in the clear here. So let's see how Sabin does here. He's going to have to fight 1 ghost and then later 1 bomb, so he's going to have a little easier time on the Velt because he was able to maintain step route. However, Gao does not appear for him on the first encounter, so hopefully we'll see him on the second encounter. No. No. Sabin's gonna have to grind out extra encounters to attempt to get Gao here, and that's really unlucky. That's about a 20% chance that happens, actually a little less than 20% chance. And so he's gonna have to do all kinds of work killing these Volmanis and guards, and that's a really unfortunate and uncontrollable time loss. So Couch's lead is going to be increasing pretty significantly here. So not only was it a 4 enemy pack in, formation, but Volmammoths also spam Blizzard, which takes a pretty significant amount of time over normal attacks, so really unfortunate. And there he is, try number 3, step route ruined. But at least it was try number 3 and not try number 8. Kappa. So Couch is going to have to make his way past these ghosts here. That should be the last encounter he sees before the Serpent Trench. Considering the amount of time Sabin had to put into that second encounter, or the third encounter, I would say Couch is probably anywhere to a minute and a half ahead now. It was about 1:10:10 when Couch entered the Crescent Mountain Cave here. So it might actually be closer to 2 minutes. Can anything truly be that shiny? Vote now on your phones. So here we've got the Serpent Trench. The Serpent Trench can be another place where you can lose a lot of time thanks to a number of factors. Looking like TheSabin gonna enter. Let's see, we've got a potion across the board. Yeah, we've got about a minute and 25-second lead for Couch here. So the first encounter you run into in the Serpent Trench can be a single Angleform or these Actinions. Actinions are the ones you want to see because single Angleform can cast Aqua Rake, and that can do pretty devastating damage to everybody in the party. So if you see a single Angleform, you actually have to take the time and kill it very, very fast. Whereas Actinions you can just run away from. And then everything else in the Serpent Trench is usually this 3-pack of Aspect, Actinian, and Angleforms. And Angleforms only do Aqua Rake when they're by themselves. If there's any other enemies with them, then they won't cast Aqua Rake, so they're not so devastating. But one of the things that can really slow you down in the Serpent Trench is getting a pincer attack with these enemies you see on the screen right now. And the little jellyfish dudes have, I don't remember what the ability is specifically called, but they have the ability to stop you. And you have to stand there and wait until your character gets unstopped if that happens in order to be able to run away. And so that's a significant time loss if that happens, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Numb Spines, that's it. So Couch actually getting a pretty decent Serpent Trench here, and getting a side attack against the Angleforms. Angleforms are actually very hard to run away from. There's certain enemies in this game that just have a quote-unquote difficult to run away from flag on them, and so it just takes extra time in order to run away from, and Angleforms have that flag, and so getting a preemptive against them is very beneficial. So here we're in the town of Nakia. Nakia's got our smoke bombs. We're going to buy just about as much as we can afford, and Couch actually not electing to buy the extra Mithril Pike here. He's going to go for the Rune Edge. And lo and behold, I jinxed Mr. TheSabin here. He's going to have to fight his way out of this pincer attack. And this is a particularly nasty pincer to fight out of due to the fact that you have all of your heavy hitting moves, Aura Bolt, Dispatch, anything Gao does. You have no control over who those moves target. And unfortunately, you either have to take the time to fight the Actinion on the right side, or you just kind of devastate everything as TheSabin is doing here now. So that's a pretty significant time loss. An unfortunate pincer there. And once you get the smoke bombs, if you get a pincer attack, you can just use a smoke bomb and you'll automatically run away. So any pincer attacks that Couch sees now aren't going to be the worst thing in the world, especially because he's moving locked down the slot. And there you go, lock scenario is pretty much over there. You'll notice Couch went into the menu and then came out of the menu and walked right through that guard. And that's going to allow us to skip almost all of lock scenario. There's no running around, no changing clothes, no getting Celis. Who's that? We don't need that person. And Couch is actually going to elect a safety save here. There's a particular encounter in here with a gold bear that can be pretty nasty. And so you want to avoid any kind of devastation. A nice safety save and never hurt nobody. So now that we have our smoke bombs, Locke's going to be able to run away from everything. If he doesn't get a preemptive, he'll use a smoke bomb. And And you'll notice Sabin stopping at the weapon vendor here and picking up a Mithril Pike. Mithril Pike is a better weapon for Edgar. That's going to allow Sabin to do a little bit more damage against Kefka in the final battle. And so Couch is going to run over here, pick up the Thunder Rod out of the chest. If you were to pick up that chest earlier on in the run, it would not be a Thunder Rod. This cave has a unique property, much like Chrono Trigger, where the later you pick up items out of chests in this cave as the game progresses, the better the items become. But we're going to use this Thunder Rod to great effect here, right here in this boss battle. And Kutan's got something to say. You remember Kutan from the beginning of the game? Me neither. So Locke's hearing voices in his head about somebody absorbing magic or something. But he doesn't care. He's got a Thunder Rod. He's going to bust it open on Tunnel Armor, and Tunnel Armor's going to go down. And so yeah, Locke scenario, a very quick one here in the Kefka at Narshe race. We don't need Celis for any reason. So if you were to run one of the longer routes of this game, the sketch percent version of this run would also be doing the Locke skip, whereas if you were doing no sketch, you'd want to at least initialize Celis's data by watching the cutscene where you name her, as opposed to not, because Celis is used pretty significantly in the World of Ruin. So Couch is on the final scenario of the three. This can still be a little bit trolly. If Bannon gets whacked enough, he takes 2 crits to the face, you can still... The flag where Bannon ends the group is still definitely active. So if the game decides to be a jerk, it can still kick your butt. But Couch only getting 1 encounter on the raft ride out, so he's looking to be in really good shape here. And Locke for Sabin there, getting a little beat up. He's down to 122 hit points. He's not going to heal, he's just going to keep running. Oh, JK, he's healing. And yeah. So not much to be said about Terra scenario. Pretty unremarkable throughout. No boss battles, no real interesting aspects to it, except for this security checkpoint that we're going to be coming up to here momentarily. And you'll notice Couch got a pincer attack here, but once again, we have smoke bombs. It's not really a big deal. So he'll just be able to get right on out of there. Sabin clearing Locke scenario without too much trouble. So we've got the security checkpoint here. What you're supposed to do is memorize the path the light takes and follow it all the way through. But if you step off the path, you're surrounded by lights, but if you tag the orange light, then you get through just fine. And lo and behold, if you just hold A in this game, you'll automatically tag the light. You don't have to time it or anything, it just automatically happens, and it's super duper easy. And you're going to see Couch deviate. He's not going to deviate, he's just going for it. No extra weapons for Edgar. So Couch's Kefka fight is going to be a little bit interesting because Edgar is going to have a pretty significant disadvantage over Sabin's. Edgar for Couch is level 11, whereas Sabin's Edgar is level 12. Sabin's Edgar also has dual Mithril Pikes, whereas Couch's Edgar only has a Mithril Pike and a Mithril Blade, and that's about a 40 attack power difference, give or take. So, while not the end of the world, it does make the Kefka fight much more risky for Couch. But he's about the entire Terra scenario ahead here, as he's going to be entering the final cutscene at about 1:20:37, and we'll see how long it takes Sabin to get there. So the ideal levels at a speedrun, you're going to be using all of Sabin's party, so all of the leveling you do on Mount Colts allows Sabin to join your party at a specific level. I believe it's level 12 to above Edgar's level, and so all of that grinding done on Mount Colts makes Sabin join the party, and then Cyan and Gao will join based off of Sabin's level, so they're all at the right level as you acquire them and play throughout that scenario, whereas Edgar's really the only one with any kind of level variance. You can either do level 11 or level 12 on Edgar, and depending on your personal preference. The party we use for Kefka and Narshe is the party you see on the layout there. We've got Edgar, Cyan, Gao, and Sabin. They're the ones who can pump out the most damage. Kefka has very high magic resistance, so Terra can't do much, and then Locke is not known for his damage dealing capabilities, and then Kutan, well, Kutan sucks. So it's looking like about a 2.5 minute advantage for Couch over Sabin here. Sabin running into some unfortunate mistake on the Riza Pass battle, and then unfortunate luck with Gao not appearing in 2 encounters. So I think even had the fight gone well for Sabin, not finding Gao is pretty devastating in terms of a speedrun, and he has no control over that. So it was a very, very close race throughout, and once again, because Couch's Edgar is a little under-leveled, this fight can get very interesting very quickly. And it'll be interesting to see, especially if Couch doesn't take a safety save, which, I mean, at this point, I'd be very surprised if he didn't. So we'll see how it goes. Yep, and there he goes. Couch is going to walk up and take a safety save here. That way, if he dies to Kefka, he can reset and try again. And here we go. We're going to toss 2 junk party members in the side parties, and then our main party is going to consist of Edgar, Sabin, Gao, and Cyan. Kutan goes in the right party, Terra in the left party, and we have our battle formation for the final battle here. So much like the encounter with the Mughals, these guards kind of run towards you, and the idea is you run into them, you fight them off, and then once you fought them all off, you can go fight the final boss, which in this case is Kefka. But we don't like doing that. We're just gonna hide in the corner over here. And then this corner over here, this looks like a nice little place. And then we just gotta slip past the rider here. If you time it right, you can just walk right on by, and then here we are. We are in the Kefka battle. So what we want, this is a very actually execution heavy fight. You want to get in as many turns as possible and then wait trick as much as you possibly can to guarantee that you eke out enough damage before Kefka gets his third turn. Kefka has 3 options on his third turn. He can either physical attack somebody, he can cast Bolt on somebody, he can cast Bolt, or he can cast Ice 2. And if he elects to do Ice 2, and if it's a multi-target, you are pretty much up a creek without a paddle if that happens. And unfortunately, Cyan getting kind of wrecked for Couch here, so he's going to be losing out a little bit of damage, and it's pretty likely that we're going to see the third turn here. Maybe not, that's going to be pretty close. Nope, there we go. Skip the third turn. Who needs level 12 Edgar? Couch is going to be done. His SRL time is a 1:26:15. Congratulations, Couch 23. Couch is going to be moving to 2-1 in the tournament. TheSabin's going to be dropping to 1-2, and unfortunately looking like not going to be progressing to the top 16. That was definitely a rough, it's been a very competitive tournament so far. A lot of people getting very good very quickly. So much the same here for Sabin. He's gonna find his little alcoves. You might even see the thing. Sabin already knows that he has lost the race, so he might swag it up a little bit. Let's see. Come on, Sabin. No, boo, no thing. Swiss is a type of tournament format. Best I can do is say look it up because it's a little hard to explain. It's not quite round robin. But alright, we got our weight tricking. Due to the ATB, Sabin elected to take Gao's turn first, nothing wrong with that. Using Blitz to weight trick Gao's actions. Sabin's doing a very good job of manipulating the ATB here. Looks like Kefka is taking his turns right after Sabin. That's a good thing. You want to get Aura Bolts off as fast as possible. They're the highest damage dealing ability that we have. And this Aura Bolt should knock him out. And there it is. No turn 3 for either runner. A well-executed Kefka fight on both sides. TheSabin's final time going to be a 1:28:36 according to SRL. So, a very close race throughout. Unfortunately, Gao not appearing for TheSabin, as well as the mistake on Rizopas coming back to bite Sabin a little bit. He also had a number of pincer attacks that were pretty rough, and then